Through this Cheyenne autumn, western Kansans' wrath, when not directed at Red Devils, fell on what they thought an incompetent and reluctant army. The charge carries some weight. Communication problems, combined with a general lack of resources, prevented early and effective response. The Exodus swept across 3 military jurisdictions, none of which had a good history of sharing information or anticipating trouble. Officials at Fort Leavenworth at first insisted the escape was simply another Indian scare that would soon subside. During the previous winter, nearly 1,700 Lakotas had left the Red Cloud and Spotted Tail agencies to flee 500 miles into Canada. That flight occurred with a minimum of violence, so the breakout of 300 Cheyennes offered no apparent reason for hysterics. Besides, enlisted men and lower-ranking officers held no illusions about the hostility of civilians or the danger of Indian campaigning. Second Lieutenant Calvin D. Cowles, stationed at Fort Dodge, explained to his father that to be killed by an Indian buried in a ditch and have one's name spelt wrong in the papers is what any of us had reasonable grounds to expect. If we punish the Indians, we are butchers and murderers, and if we fail to do so, we are cowards. Castigated by reformers, branded idiots by frontiersmen, military men often reserved their small reservoirs of respect for the very warriors they were employed to fight. Little wonder that their initial pursuit of the Northern Cheyennes might have been less than enthusiastic. The Exodus traversed a region undergoing considerable demographic and environmental transition. Nomadic hunters knew the Arkansas River system well and made their winter camps along its creek bottoms and abundance of woody vegetation. Through the 1860s, Kiowa and Comanche raids prevented Euro-American settlement, but after the Treaty of Medicine Lodge, white immigration blossomed. Most recent gains came from town growth and farm expansion, a fact observed with concern by area ranchers who seemed intent on retaining their newly established hegemony. Many ranchers never acquired legal title to their land, but simply occupied vacant spaces under the rule of cow custom. Ranchers had aided in the rapid transition from bison to cattle. When the state legislature considered a measure to prevent the bison's total extermination, cattle interests launched vigorous opposition, claiming that buffalo retard civilization by destroying the pasturage of cattle. As Little Wolf's travelers crossed this landscape, they would have noted its rich potential, but also how their precious bison herds had been replaced by foreign ungulates, whose meat they had learned to detest at Darlington. Raiding parties fanned out to seize fresh horses and supplies. Feeding more than 300 people each day made foraging for civilian livestock essential. The first acts of violence probably ensued from this necessity. The Cheyennes' earliest forays into Barber County netted livestock with no confrontation, but after sweeping westward into Comanche and Clark counties, they encountered cowboys hired to protect sheep and cattle herds. Warriors captured dozens of horses and killed several employees at ranches along the Cimarron River. As if to vent their outrage at the new creatures invading the region, they also attacked 2 flocks of sheep, killing 250 of them with bows and arrows, just for the fun of the thing, using but a few pounds of mutton, and slaughtering the animals promiscuously. In Ford County on September 16th, a cook in a cattle camp, a colored man named George Simmons, lost his life during a raid. In total, Northern Cheyenne violence claimed 9 lives in Indian Territory in southwest Kansas.